So the question is, you read the Old Testament and God, helps the Jewish people destroy nations and conquer, and you get to the New Testament, it's all about mercy and love and compassion. And I think there's a few elements to that, and it's not an easy question to answer. So I think the parts that have always helped me is first, the whole basis of the Old Testament is it's a growing understanding of who God is. So as you follow the stories, they're getting to know God better and better. Abraham is told, just trust me, do what I say and you'll be fine. You get down to Israel and he sort of continues that. Then you get to Moses, he gives them laws. And then you get to the prophets and they start to internalize those laws. And it's only in Christ that we actually see who God is. So reading the Old Testament, you're getting God through an imperfect veil. You're getting bits and pieces. You're not getting the entire picture. You're getting him through a smoke screen. Christ shows who God fully is. So I think as you read those Old Testament stories, they reveal something about God, but through that imperfect lens. So I'd say the two pieces are, those stories don't get God completely. It's not a perfect grasp of who he is, and they can attribute attitudes to him in a way that, are from their perspective, not necessarily God isn't vengeful, even though they may see him that way. But what he's doing may have a different purpose. They still teach us something about who God is. So we know that God is loving, and if we see that God is a God of love, we use that lens to understand the Old Testament stories. So when he does these things, we have to always see it as this is God being loving. Sometimes that's a harder thing to figure out, but this is who God is, and everything he does through the Scriptures has to be understood in that lens, because that's the perfect lens of who he is. And so we have to say there is no disconnect. It is the same God, and so the imperfect lens of the Old Testament has to be replaced with the lens that Christ gives, and then you have to integrate, how does a God of love allow or do these things? And that changes how we read those stories. And it can change how we attribute certain things, whether it's allowing or doing, so it reinterprets them all.